Growing up, I'm sure that a lot of us have been to SeaWorld, and we all got to see these beautiful animals, and we thought it was this magical place. And if you were lucky, you got to sit in the front row in the splash zone. And if you were like me, you got this huge Shamu that was the size of you as an 8-year-old. And in order to really realize that how toxic of a place this is, you must grasp the concept that a lot of the time these animals are found in terrible condition. They have collapsed dorsal fins, they're not properly fed, they're not properly taken care of, they don't live in the proper conditions. Mentally and physically, they're just neglected. Now, I think it's important for us to recognize and create attention towards this abusement park, as there's just so much suffering that goes on. Now, Chuck Tompkins, in a 2015 article for SeaWorld and a study done by SeaWorld, he stated that, quote, "We don't put any animal in any stressful situation," end quote. Now, this is only one of the lies that Chuck Tompkins has been said to say, as these orcas are put in very small captivity, which leads them to be stressed and also leads them to be aggressive. Now, one of the more popular instances of or one of the more well-known instances of this aggression is the killer whale Tilikum. Now, he is known to have killed 3 people, one of the main people being Don Brancheau. Now, Don Brancheau was a trainer who took care of Tilikum, and according to John Hargrove, in 2010, in an article with Book Talk and a study done by National Geographic, he stated that Tilikum, quote, "dismembered her, tore off her left arm, and scalped her," end quote. Now, this left her body and body parts at the bottom of the tank, and according to SeaWorld, this was a non-aggressive attack, and that Tilikum was just playing with Dawn. It was also said that Tilikum was held in a very small captivity place, and she was also left in the dark. Now, there are no reports of orcas being aggressive out in the wild, but only when they are held in captivity. And another example of these unbearable conditions is SeaWorld claims that dorsal fins aren't a very important part of the orca's body, and it's normal for their dorsal fins to kind of like flop from side to side. Now, according to Dr. Christopher Dold in a 2020 article in Google and a study done by ThoughtCo, he stated, quote, "The dorsal fin is a structure like our ear," end quote. Now, this proves that this is a very important part of the orca's body art, as our ears are important for our body. Now, if you look at pictures of orcas out in the wild, you will see that their dorsal fins go straight up and down, and as I mentioned before, if you look at pictures of orcas at SeaWorld, you will see that their fins usually sway from left to right. Not only that, but because these orcas are left in these shallow pools, they're also prone to getting sunburnt, because usually while they're in the ocean, they dive deeper, which protects them from the sun. Now, you would think SeaWorld takes these precautions and maybe puts sunscreen on them, but you'd be wrong. They actually put black zinc oxide on the orcas in order to cover their skin, because the black zinc oxide is the same color as their skin. So they put that on after these animals are sunburnt. Now, according to Jeffrey Ventry in a 2014 article on Google and a study done by the Dodo, he stated that, quote, "the animal's skin was usually burned or blistering before application," end quote. Now, this just shows even more that SeaWorld does not take care of their animals at all. In fact, they only cover up the sunburns because they don't want the audience to be concerned about it. And I just think it's really important for us to recognize the suffering that these animals go through, not only physically, but just mentally, and just how bad it actually is. And I think a good way of doing that is to watch the movie Blackfish. It's actually on Hulu if you want to watch it. It's about the killer whale that I mentioned before, Tilikum, and it goes into depth about what happens behind the scenes at SeaWorld, how these orcas are taken from their mothers, and just the mistreatment and abuse of them. And I also think it's a really good time to watch it because we are in quarantine and there's really not much else to do. You can share this movie with your family and your friends, tell them to watch it, tell them to not support SeaWorld anymore. And you might be a little emotional afterwards, or maybe that's just me. But for me, I kind of wanted to make a change after I watched it. And if you want to do that, you can email, call, or even mail your local SeaWorld. You can even comment on their Facebook page, but they like to keep things clean, so keep things clean and just say what you have to say and go. Or you can also sign up for PETA campaigns. PETA campaigns have actually had success with SeaWorld before. In the past, they actually stopped orca breeding programs, and they also stopped whales from, like, the trainers from jumping on the whale spaces. Now, according to Lori Weisenberg in a 2020 article in Google on a study done by Los Angeles Times, she stated that, quote, "It's obvious PETA's pressure was responsible for them to stop the surfing and sitting on the dolphins' faces," end quote. Now, I think this is very true and very important because PETA obviously has a large audience, and I'm sure SeaWorld recognized, like, how much publicity their campaign was getting and decided to make a change, as people are opening their eyes more these days to the abusement that goes on there. Now, we can create an end to these orcas being stuffed in these small spaces, as PETA, like I mentioned before, has had success before, but think about how much more we can improve for them and help them from being cramped in these small spaces, from being fed the wrong diet, from their broken dorsal fins, from being sunburnt, and I'm sure there's many more other problems that we aren't even aware of yet that we can help change now. Overall, these animals are abused physically, mentally. They're put in the wrong situations that they shouldn't be in. They should live out in the wild and they should be free. And I think a good way to take action is to go to seaworldofhurt.com, click on the Take Action tab, and take the 3-question survey and sign up with millions of others to help prevent, just sign up. Help prevent these animals from being in more pain than they already are, because as I mentioned before, SeaWorld is not this magical place that we once thought it was, and it's actually not even really an entertainment place anymore. It's just filled with a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, and not only for the orcas but all the other animals. And if you sign this campaign, you can save so many animals from the pain that they are feeling. So I just think it's important to give some insight on how toxic of an environment this is, and just open your eyes on how you can change their lives and save them. Thank you for your time.